Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here. So is Regis Prograis ducking Josh Taylor? I made a video about this on Friday night when the news first broke that Prograis intended to leave the tournament and that he would file a lawsuit against the World Boxing Super Series. Since then, more details have emerged, and like we speculated in that video, it is down to money essentially. And that's really not surprising. That's life, when these type of scenarios arise. It's usually down to money, right? But essentially, Prograis, his gripe was the fact that the money that was promised to be in escrow by a certain date wasn't in escrow at that date, and essentially it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I also heard that he was paid late for his fight with Terry Flanagan, and all in all, he and his team aren't happy with the World Boxing Super Series in regards to how they've scheduled their payments, etc, etc. So it's down to money. But is it a duck of Josh Taylor? Now, I've got to be honest, from my perspective, I would find it very hard in this instance to call Prograis a ducker, given the circumstances. In the video I put out yesterday, I actually made a disclaimer where I said if it is down to late payments or something along those lines, then I would be hard pressed to call this man a ducker. And that's what it appears to be. These guys ultimately, they put their lives on the line, they take a big risk, and if there's any doubt in terms of payments, then ultimately these guys, they need to do what they need to do. I mean, let's say, for example, Prograis continues in the tournament despite what's gone on with payments, and for the final he doesn't get paid. Let's say the World Boxing Super Series goes under and he doesn't get paid. What do you think happens then? The people around Prograis, like his advisors, they'd be sacked because, they should have really seen it coming, considering the previous gripes with payments. They should have seen it coming. So I would say the people around Prograis are advising him to pull out of this tournament. They are the ones pulling the strings because, they've got an investment to protect and they have a client to look out for. If anything were to go wrong, essentially it would be on them, you would imagine. So, listen, I'm really hard pressed to call this a duck if what they've said is true. We will see how it plays out. The World Boxing Super Series, I believe, are doing their best to keep Prograis in the tournament. I believe they have also launched legal action to keep him in the tournament. So we'll see what happens there. Listen, as a boxing fan, I truly hope this fight stays on. For me, it's one of the best fights in boxing. It truly is a 50-50 fight, a great style clash, one I really want to see. But putting the common sense hat on and, really trying to be fair and objective, I can see where the gripe is coming from. I can. If I was in that position where I'm not getting paid or I'm not getting paid on time, then I may do the same thing ultimately. It's not nice when people mess with your money. And if anyone's gone through that, you would realise that. So, I can't be mad at Regis Prograis if what he's saying, if what his team is saying is true. I can't really be that mad. As a boxing fan, ultimately, I'm super disappointed. Hopefully, it can be salvaged, but it looks like it's going to be very messy. It really does. And, you do have to question the longevity of the World Boxing Super Series. It's not the first time this has happened. Baranchik, for example, he voiced some displeasures at the World Boxing Super Series. He threatened to pull out. Nonito Donaire also voiced some concerns. So, there's been numerous stories in regards to the World Boxing Super Series that don't fill me with confidence. And all in all, as great as the concept is, and as great as it's been for me as a boxing fan, there's clearly been a lot of problems along the way in regards to payments, scheduling, TV deals, etc. There's been a lot of problems. So that doesn't really bode well for the longevity of this tournament. Again, As a boxing fan, I truly hope this tournament goes on for years to come and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because the concept is brilliant and I thoroughly enjoyed several other fights these tournaments have put on. So I'm not complaining about the tournament, I'm just really trying to give you a fair perspective. But yeah, share your thoughts below, tell me how you feel about this whole story, and in your opinion, is Regis Prograis ducking Josh Taylor? I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I've seen a lot of people say, well, Josh Taylor isn't complaining, so why should Prograis complain? Well, ultimately, we don't know what the World Boxing Super Series have told Taylor or Prograis. Maybe they've been communicating with Taylor and not Prograis. Maybe Taylor's been paid on time, whereas Prograis maybe hasn't. So listen, that to me is a non-starter, because ultimately none of us really know. But yeah, I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on this. Is Josh Taylor being ducked by Regis Prograis? Share your thoughts below. Peace.